Look. Okay, 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it. 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it. I ain't never seen a city sleep. You can really hit a city breathe. They be saying we ain't got culture, they just don't know what it really means. No, we gotta represent, heavy underrated, yeah, we gotta make a scene. No shade to the other guys, but you can't deny we the one to be. Capital city, the map looking pretty when we on it. So community driven, the people we living with, loving each other. That's all that we seeking for. Ain't no reason to
Cece, C-Note, Miss Cece, the money lady. You go by many names. Oh, Mom.
Yep, that's the one I like the best.
That's probably the most important one.
Yeah.
By many names. When we've been doing work for quite a while together, specifically around a shared interest in a program called Lansing SAVE. But there's deeper roots than just a savings program. We'll get into Lansing SAVE and we'll break down all how it works and all that. But there's a much deeper heart to the work that you do on a daily basis. And that is around the city that you and I were both born and raised in, the city that we love, this city we call Lansing. And maybe even deeper within that is a district that you are a champion of when it comes to the Lansing School District. Born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
On the playground is where you spent most of your days.
Most of them.
Right, yeah. Yep, that's a 90s reference.
Oh, yeah.
Break us down a little bit. Growing up in Lansing and maybe a little bit of the journey of how you got to MSUFCU to be Cece, the money lady.
Sure. Well, I, as you said, grew up in Lansing, west side of Lansing, went to Sexton, proud graduate of Sexton High School. Won't give you my class, that just gives you my age. But again, proud graduate. My sister also graduated from Sexton. My father worked at Sexton. So that was just like this is our school here. My mother was also an educator for capital area preschools, so Head Start. Always looked at this as, this is where I'm going to grow up. This is my home. When I became a mom, a single parent, I knew that I wanted my daughter to be more successful than me. That's always been my passion. Of our kids should outdo us, should strive to be more successful. And I always looked at this beautiful green building on the highway, and I said, someday I'm gonna work there. Unfortunately, when I graduated, life took me in different directions, and I was doing retail. Wasn't happy doing retail. I knew this wasn't my passion, but it was kind of where life had taken me. I was recruited to a financial institution, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm helping. I feel like I'm finally doing what I want to do, is give back. I always had a passion for education, just didn't know if I was going to get there. Started in finance and banks. I was like, okay, this is great, but I always had that vision of that beautiful green, emerald green building on the side of the highway. And that was a goal of mine. And I decided one day I'm going to go for it. I'm going to apply. I'm going to see what happens. And I got in. I thought, wow, I'm going to be a teller. This is going to be great. And then I find the financial education department. I did a lot of volunteering for junior achievement, and someone shadowed me and said, you need to be in financial education. The classroom is where it's at. Always had that dream. And, they say MSUFCU, they make dreams happen, and my dream did come true. Not only did I get my job, but I have my dream job.
There are very few people that can say, I have my dream job. But I almost think, too, there are very few people who could even put into words what that dream job might be. Right? So I think often folks may not even know what they're seeking after, but they know that they're seeking after something more. When you began to understand a bit of this financial education world, the classroom, the students, your heart for them, was there anything in particular, how do I even say this? Was there anything in particular that that confirmed for you. I'm going to restate the question. This is a wandering question. You're welcome.
No, you're good.
What was it about the classroom that confirmed your purpose in it?
I'm making a difference. So when it comes to finances, one of the things that I tell my students is I did everything wrong. So when I come to a classroom and I'm talking to these students about this is what you should do, I always let them know I did it all wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to have to go through the hard times I went through. So if I can be that person to just guide at least one student out of a classroom of 25 in that right direction, then I'm doing something right for them. I'm making a difference in the decisions they make for their future to hopefully change their outcomes.
Well, and it seems to me that heart, right, that heart you just expressed for those students, your heart for your daughter to have a better life than you did, and to be honest, the strength and willingness to be humble enough to say, hey, babies, we want better. And you know what? As adults, we haven't always made the best choices. And maybe that's because we were just really foolish in our 20s. Or maybe that's because no one ever really sat us down and explained how it all worked.
Right.
Or those who sat us down, we didn't have ears to hear at that time. Right? I mean, I think there's probably a lot of those pieces. When you're in a classroom or seeing kids, even in like a grocery store or whatever it is, right? What are you finding that seems to allow students to relate to what you're talking about?
It's because I tell them, when I go to the high schools, I tell them my story.
Yeah.
I tell them that, I didn't want to listen to mom and dad's rules. I moved out early. I didn't want to hear, this is how you should do things. Yeah. I wanted to do it my way. And by the time I was ready to go ask mom, hey, how do I do this now? My mom had passed away. So I didn't have that guide anymore. The high school students love to hear that because they know I'm being very real with them.
Yeah.
I was 19 when that happened, and I'm being very real with them, which that's close to their age.
Yeah.
With the middle school students, I feel like they just love that I'm like, hey, I'm going to vibe with you. What are we doing today? Like, this is how I want to handle the classroom. Yeah. I'm here to respect you. You got to respect me. So it's an equal partnership amongst classrooms. Yeah. I get a level of respect from them when I walk in because they know it's Miss Cece. She's not here to play. She's serious. I've walked out of classrooms that don't give me the respect I know I've earned in that classroom, and then they get very upset.
Yeah.
But when I come back, we try it again, and they're like, all right, we got it. So I think it's just finding that level of, I'm here for you.
Yeah. Well, and here for you, and I mean, there's a word that's been going around a lot that is authentic, right? That is honest, that is true. And reality is kids today especially have a really effective bullshit meter. And they know who's pulling the wool. They know who's bluffing. They know who's all talk. And they know who's real.
Yeah.
A lot more than I think our generation certainly did, or generations past. And that's mostly a survival mechanism because on social media and on their phones and on TV, they are shown so much bull and so many ads and so many political statements and so much social media to the degree that like they have to learn how to filter in a way that you and I never had to learn how to filter at that age.
Right.
Right. And so to hear that kids are able to see you, hear you, and connect with you, and that they're sad when you have to leave the room, tells me that you're doing something that is not only meaningful, but it's building real relationships with kids.
Yeah.
But when we talk about that trusted adult, right, that trusted adult who cares for the kids in this city, are you finding that as we begin to walk into classrooms, and actually let's walk it through real quick. Lansing SAVE is now in how many grades?
We are in grades K through 10.
That's amazing. When we started, Lansing SAVE was in how many grades?
Just kindergarten.
Just kindergarten. Yeah. And so that kindergarten class, who is now in 10th grade,
yes,
has been hearing from MSUFCU, from you and Ms. Jessica and a whole crew of folks on a continuous and regular basis. You're not their teachers. You're not their parents. You're adults who care, who come into a classroom, and who talk about financial education. But let's rewind a little more now that I'm saying that. Let's break it down for those playing at home. Lansing SAVE. Maybe we've heard of it, maybe we haven't. Cece, what is Lansing SAVE?
Lansing SAVE is a college savings program that offers a free savings account for every student in the Lansing School District when they enroll. It's an automatic program, the automatic enrollment, and it is through right now grades K through 10. Every year we add another grade, so next year it'll be K through 11th, and then finally we'll say all grades.
Love it.
They have that free account that they can save money for college. They can bring money in to the classrooms. We visit, MSU financial educators visit once a month, and we give them a financial literacy lesson. So in kindergarten, it's what is money?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah.
As we get older, it turns into the difference between needs and wants. We talk about budgeting. We talk about career exploration.
Yeah.
We break down everything from identity theft, fraud, when it comes to accounts, to also professionalism in the classroom and what that means in the workplace. These are life skills.
Yeah.
And we do lessons, again, once a month from December through May. The students can bring money in, and then our educators take it back to the credit union and put it in their savings account.
Super cool.
All of the funds go into their accounts, and they stay there till graduation to be used for educational purposes or something to help them for career readiness once they graduate.
And now we know, of course, a few dollars here, a few dollars there, and we look at the cost of attendance at a post-secondary institution and we say, hey, these numbers don't add up. $500 in an account, how is that going to pay for college? But what are we seeing, both nationally in the studies and otherwise, about that number, $500 in an account set aside for post-secondary attainment? So for success after high school, an account set aside. What kind of numbers or movements or momentums are we seeing there?
So they are more likely to attend post-secondary education
Yeah.
with at least $500 in college savings.
Yeah.
So I want to say it's somewhere in the higher percentage of like 70% more likely to attend post-secondary education.
Well, I've read 3, 4, or 7 times more likely, depending on the study and whether I'm good at reading. And one of those
Yes.
may be questionable. But how amazing is it, Cece, that the work that you're doing, I would argue that the most important work is actually the financial literacy work you're doing, to the degree that it turns out when kids get out of school, if they have an appreciation for what budgets are, they're not walking in and signing credit card agreements that they aren't aware of. They're not walking in and getting themselves leveled in debt up to their eyeballs and they're playing catch up the rest of their life. Instead, they have an awareness, oh, Miss Cece taught me. Oh, the folks from MSU taught me. But in the same way, I think this is about momentum. Right? It's about expectation. Talk a little, if you could, about what you're seeing in the expectations of students maybe over the last decade when it comes to conversations.
You know, one thing that we noticed in Lansing is high percentage of unbanked. So there's a lot of unbanked families, and I've had kids tell me, my mom says you're fishy.
Yeah.
Not trusting who we are. And it starts with trusting us when we say we're going to be back next year.
Yeah.
We're going to be here year after year. We've built a relationship with these students.
Yeah.
They now know me. I get students who see me in the grocery store who ask for the money song. That, no, you're the money lady. You always come. They are now building not just the education from financial literacy, but they're building trust with financial institutions.
Yeah.
They know, Miss Cece has told me for the past 9.5 years that she's going to be here,
Yeah.
and she's still here. So it's building a rapport with them to not just understand that I'm here for you, is what I tell them all the time. I want you to be successful. I want to see you in a career. I want to see you cross that stage in that cap and gown. So if they don't have that momentum from somebody at home, they get it from us year after year. They're building trust with financial institutions to understand my money's still there. Nobody's taken it.
Yeah.
I can put money in an account and it will be safe. And then it's the literacy that they've learned of how to handle that money.
That's right.
So there's so many stages of the program that's just beyond you have this free college savings account, but it's encouragement of you can go to college.
That's right.
You will be successful.
That's right.
That I feel like is a bigger portion of the program.
It's so great to, I think, hear year over year the numbers of students, the numbers of savings accounts open. And to your point, right, this is about both college and career attainment. So this is momentum and success after high school as an expectation for every kid, right? This weaves together perfectly with the promise. This doesn't hurt any of the promise eligibility. They can use all their promise monies, and then they also have SAVE as a backup or as a next layer, which is super cool. We're of course always going to be very intentional about that. But the concept of being from having a family that has not historically trusted a financial institution for many reasons. Some are very legitimate.
Yes.
Right? There have been some folks who have not been treated well by financial institutions or creditors. But to move into a place where they say, well, I don't know about all those institutions, but I know the MSUFCU continues to show up for my kids. They continue to invest well in our community, and they continue to, well, Ms. Cece continues to show up. There's something very powerful about that. But also, again, because it's a trusted relationship, and you'd be the first to say, right, this ain't about you, but I will say it's so important to recognize the folks doing the work and also the folks that continue to build the trust. And so as we see from unbanked to banked, right, that's talking about asset independence, right? That's talking about asset building. When someone has $100 check and they deposit it at a check cashing spot, they do not walk away with $100.
Correct.
And reality is, if they do it at a store or at a convenience store, they do not walk away with $100. When you do it at a bank, you literally have $100 in your account now. That alone is a pretty significant return on investment.
Right.
To know that that's now safe under FDIC insurance up to $250,000, then we know that money ain't going anywhere. That's a good thing to be able to know. But none of that matters if we don't have real people helping us all understand that. When it comes to relationships and the classroom, generally speaking, because again, you know and I know that we believe not only just in the inherent worth of every young person in this city, right, but we want to invest in them. What are you seeing as some of the more meaningful interactions that you've had over the years? Are there any that come to mind and you say, oh, I think this might be working?
There's one that takes me back a few years ago. Well, it was many years ago. I was walking into Quality Dairy and I see it's summertime, group of kids, and you kind of see the store just kind of keeping an eye on them because they're just being a little loud, a little ruckus in the store. Yeah. And one stops in the aisle and looks at me. Doesn't say anything. He just looks at me. I just keep going around my way, getting my stuff. And they all end up cashing out, and they wait by the front door. And I go to pay, and I open the door. Well, I go to open the door, and they open it for me. And they said, "You're Miss Cece, aren't you?" I said, "I am." And they go, "We thought that was you." And they held the door open, and I just said, "Thank you so much. I hope you guys all have a great summer." And the stores just kind of, the employees just kind of look at me like, you know all these kids. And,
That's right.
And I just smiled and I was like, "See you later. I'll see you next year." It meant something to me that they waited for me. Yeah. They stopped what they were doing. They cashed out and they waited for me to hold the door. Yeah. To me, it made me feel like I am doing something. Oof. I am making a difference. And it's interactions like that just bring me joy. I get hugs everywhere we go. My daughter knows that we can't go to the grocery store without saying, "Are you Miss Cece?" And then she's, mocking them. "Are you Miss Cece?"
That's
I'm like,
right.
"Stop. I'm famous. Leave me alone." It makes my day. The hugs make my day. I do get a lot of parents like, "Wait a minute, who are you?" I'm like, "Don't worry. I see your kid at school."
That's right. That's right.
But it makes my day to know that I'm making a difference for them to say, "Wait a minute. That's her. We got to make sure that we do this for her." Yeah. That's special. It's definitely special.
Well, and the theme that we've been trying to push, I think, from the Promises end, but really from all of our ends, right, is this theme of belovedness, right? Because when our babies know they're beloved, it changes the way they see things, right? It changes the way they see people. To your point, kids are being watched at a store because they wanted to open the door for you. It's a very different spirit that those babies had because they knew they were loved.
Yeah.
Right? When we go into schools, right, you and I have had the privilege of going into many different events and things at various schools. And sometimes I don't even talk about the scholarships because we're talking about actually all the stuff that you've been talking about, right? Which is career development and professionalism and savings and financial readiness. But I think most importantly, right, it is the humanity of our kids and their families that drives all of this.
Right.
Right? That desire to want better for my kids. And I think I have certainly seen your heart in this. It seems to me that you see all of Lansing's kids. Now, take a step back. Your daughter, that's your baby, right?
Yes.
You will murder for her.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, that's Mama Bear. Like,
yeah.
And you also have a love for the kids that you work with on a daily basis throughout the district and throughout the city. And I will just say I recognize that in the work that I do and seeing you interact in a way that I think is not only unique, but is pretty frickin' amazing. So within that, let's talk a little bit about some numbers. Not huge numbers, but about how many savings accounts do we have, like, open and active with kids that are currently in the district and they have accounts open right now in their name?
So approximately about 9,000 accounts.
9,000 accounts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big number.
It is. It's a huge number. Yes.
Shout out to MSUFCU.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's a lot of love, labor of love, and manual labor.
Yes.
About how many classrooms do you all go to in a given 6 months or a year?
So there's about 300 classrooms a month that we visit. So it is not just me. I have an amazing team that goes, and we divvy up the schools.
Excellent.
Because we are, to get to all of those schools and classrooms, there's 21 schools in Lansing School District, plus the virtual school. Yeah. It's hard to get to every school. So we divvy it up, and it's about 300 a month.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So 300 a month. That's 9,000 accounts open.
Mm-hmm.
With monies growing. Now, money's growing because, for example, students or family members might bring it in. Students can bring money into the classroom and give it to an MSUFCU staff who takes it under very serious stewardship, right? Serious guarding. And they protect it with their life to get it to the bank. Within that, the credit union would be the better statement, wouldn't it? Within that, are there also ways that, let's say that I have a student or a grandchild, I don't have a grandchild. Let's say I have a student in the school district, which I do. Mm-hmm. Let's say, actually, all three of those students have a Lansing SAVE account in their name. And I wanted to put $10 into each of those accounts. Is there a way for me to go do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to any of our locations and you just give your student's name. So the accounts are set up where it is just the students on the account with the city of Lansing. Yeah. Parents are not on the accounts. Yeah. They can be added as an authorized signer as a beneficiary in the event that anything were to happen, but they are not on the accounts. So you can just go, tell them your student's name, and they will put that money right into the account for you.
That's super cool. So birthday, for example, I could say, this is for my daughter's account, here's $10.
Yes, so any family could.
Any family
with
could.
the student's name.
Super cool.
Another really cool thing is they can set up an ACH, which is an automatic payment, which we do have some parents who do that. So what they set up from their financial institution is they might say, every time I get paid, I want to send $10 to the Lansing SAVE account, and it automatically goes in there.
Super cool.
Which is very beneficial because, again, you're not really seeing it, but it's going to a savings that you can't withdraw from, and it is growing interest. So very beneficial.
And so it's growing with some interest. Again, it's growing momentum. It's growing expectation that our students have something beyond high school, and this is set aside for them. We know that's going to cause them to make choices that are future focused. We know that it sets an expectation that they're going to go to college or trades. Within that, so we haven't got there yet, but we will in 2 years. A student, let's say, is 18 and is graduating, and they say, yes, I'm using my promised scholarship at LCC, and I could really use some additional funds to fill in the financial gaps. Or I'm going to MSU, and I could use a few $100s to fill in this financial gap. Or I need to buy a computer, and I can't seem to. What kind of expenses can a student count toward or use from their? What I'm trying to say is, what are educational expenses that are allowed under the Lansing SAVE program?
So really, it's anything that's going to help them with that post-secondary education. So that computer, that laptop would absolutely help.
Sure.
If we're talking about room and board, that's going to help. Is it a book? Obviously, that's going to help.
Yeah.
Is it moving expenses? That's going to help get them there.
Sure.
All of those things are broken down into
Yeah.
that's helping them get to that post-secondary education step.
Yeah.
Anything they feel that might deter them from getting there,
Yeah.
we're going to have a conversation with them to say, yes, that is something that would help you get there. That's what your Lansing SAVE money would be useful for.
I love it. And so what it seems to me, and how cool is it, it's a backstop, right? So if Promise, for example, at LCC covers all books, course fees, everything, in theory, a kid should leave LCC with no tuition or course debt. But you will know and I know that room and board's a big deal. At MSU, we're building programs right now that are working to reduce tuition and room and board costs more and more. But a four-year institution ain't cheap.
No.
At Davenport, at Olivet, right, they're working their best to reduce costs for our students as well, which is great. But sometimes $200 or $500 is the difference between I'm still going to school and I'm not going to school anymore. And it sure seems to me to have that $500 in your back pocket, able to help if you need it, it kind of changes things. It changes the game.
Absolutely. They don't feel like I have to stop on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I can't make this happen. I'm okay. So it can make a difference from them saying, I'm going to go and I'm going to be successful, to I have to make changes in my life.
That's right. It's interesting. A conversation we have often with students as to why maybe they've taken a break or stopped out is 9 times out of 10 financial. And what we're finding is it's often not as large of a monetary amount as we would have guessed. It's not, I need to raise $5,000.
Right.
Sometimes it's, my car's in the shop. I need new brakes. I don't have the cash right now. Therefore, I have to stop to pick up more hours at work so that I can focus on work, so I can pay some bills at home, because once I can pay bills at home, then I can go back to school. And again, what I think is so forward thinking about this is obviously for the last 11 years. What? Yeah, K through 10. Yeah. 10/11 years.
Yes.
Depending on how you count it. Students have been hearing, hey, we expect you to be successful after high school, and you have some money set aside. For the last 10 to 11 years, students have been learning about money, what it is, needs and wants, which most adults could probably, including myself, have a reminder of, which I assume means opportunity costs. You guys are talking about credit. You guys are talking about, do you guys talk ever about sort of compound interest?
Yep, we just had that lesson.
What?
Yep, in our 7th grade class.
Okay.
Which was a great lesson, because I had so many 7th graders ask me when we were done, when is the next time you're here? Because I want to bring more money for my Lansing SAVE account.
Boom.
When they understand that it grows more when you take care of it and you provide for it. I always give the example of like a tree. If I were to plant a tree outside and it's going to grow interest, but I'm just going to plant it and leave it alone, I'm never going to see it grow. It's going to take years for it to start to grow.
Yeah.
If I added fertilizer and watered it every day and nurtured it and cared for it every day, I'm going to see it grow faster.
So good.
So understanding compound interest for them is, I need to take care of my account. I need to add more to it. And they were all very excited to bring deposits for next time.
7th grade. I remember 7th grade. I'd rather not remember 7th grade. You know what I wasn't thinking about? Compound interest.
Yeah.
And thinking about growing trees, right? And in a lot of ways, I think we've often said we, as becoming elders in our community, right, we're growing trees under whose shade we won't sit. But I wonder even if what we're really doing is helping grow trees under whose shade future generations will grow the next set of trees. Right? How powerful is it that you just made all 7th graders potential millionaires?
And that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
You know what's crazy about being a millionaire? You have food, clothes, and shelter. You have transportation and safety. The funny thing about programs like Lansing SAVE working, programs when they partner with Promise and with the district and with post-secondary partners, the funny thing about them working is it ain't really about the attainment, though that's good. Right? This is about transformation. This is about short-circuiting and completely unwinding poverty structures. Simply by saying, focus on what you love, fight hard for it, build a career around it, right? And this community is going to walk with you.
Yeah, and I think one thing I always envisioned for my future was I'm raising my daughter in this community. I want this community to be successful.
There it is.
So by giving back in this community, in the district I graduated from, in the areas I went to school, I walked these streets, I, hung out at these parks.
That's right.
I'm making a difference for these people to be successful for their future, for my daughter to be successful in her community and her future. It all comes back to that, right?
That's right.
And that's why we do this. That's why there's that passion. Because it's not about me or her, it's about everybody.
That's right.
And that's what makes it successful, is together we're all doing this for them.
Amen. Miss Cece, the money lady, my friend, most importantly, an excellent mama.
Thank you. I try.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for your heart. And thank you for setting this vision. And I think this standard that we can all work to meet. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome, but thank you for all that you do as well. I can't tell you how many classrooms I walk into and I talk about Promise and they say, is that the guy that tells us we matter? That is you.
Listen, I think when it started, kids were just like making fun of me. They were like, who is this old white guy who just says, you matter? But here's the reality. If they're making fun of me and they're still saying it,
they're hearing it.
They're hearing it. And I love it.
Yeah.
Oh. In fact, we were at a senior meeting at Everett a couple months back, and we got into a yelling match of you matter because they beat me to it. I said, what you matter? No, you matter. You matter. You matter. Here's the crazy part, see? What if all of our kids in this district graduate with the following: having 13 years of a savings account, 13 years understanding financial education, literacy, monetary value, credit, and compound interest, have 13 years of adults, not their parents or teachers, though it's really important to have positive parents and teachers, but adults, not their parents and teachers, also coming in telling them that they are loved, beloved, and that they matter. 13 years of expectation setting, that success after high school is the norm. The only question is what you're going to do. And imagine what happens 13 years from now when our preschoolers do the same thing. Let's plant some trees, my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's good. Sino, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being you.
Absolutely. I'm glad I was able to come.
This is really good.
Look. Okay, 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it. 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it.
been too many moments of silence, too many lives have been lost to gun violence. My God, we need some guidance. It's the same city that can be so tragic, also produces a brother like Shabazz and bursts a man like magic. Why I'm Lansing, born and raised, 517 to the grave. We got culture in our veins, we take the reins. With reformation comes a promise, better future is upon us. You can doubt it like Thomas, but we gon' rise like Adonis, and ain't nobody gon' stop us. We gon' get better, this a letter to my city that we fed up. Ain't gon' let applying pressure until everybody gets it. They can't try us, they can't buy us, gentrify us. When it's coming to my city, man, I'm blue collar bias. They can't divide us, united we stand, like digits on a hand. Make it to the promised land, we coming up with a plan to make this a better place. I'm proud of Lansing, you can see it on my face. We gotta retrace and learn how to win this race.
51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it. 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it. I ain't never seen a city sleep. You could really hit a city breathe. They be saying we ain't got culture, they just don't know what it really means. No, we gotta represent heavy underrated, yeah, we gotta make a scene. No shade to the other guys, but you can't deny we the one to be. Capital city, the map looking pretty when we on it. So community driven, the people we living with, loving each other. That's all that we seeking for, ain't no reason to need more. A lot of people saying go to the D4, so we need to be seen more. Dream more, need a reason to be more, we just gotta believe more. I mold my style around the influences that I've witnessed. A new beginning, truer vision, it'll soon be finished. Endless inspiration from the people that I've known. Yes, I've grown to love the city as the city made me grown. Know whatever way you choosing for yourself to be expressed, there's a place that's meant for you so you can grow into your best. I can attest to its greatness with my chest, I'm here to say it. We will soon become the mecca of success. I'm expecting nothing. 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living in the moment, never gonna leave it. 51-7, take it to the grave. Legends never die, that's why we still awake. Sun keep beaming, city still breathing. Living